Channel, this is Oblivion. We are here with the Book 7th Summoning Session. Our goals for tonight are trying to get a copy of Ophelia and as many copies of Seidr as possible. We'll be mostly just sniping on red and green. We might occasionally pick up a blue if it's like 3 orbs or something, but we'll be completely avoiding colorless as I really don't need Dwight, and he'll end up in the normal summoning pool so I can just pick him up later on. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in and then we can discuss Seidr a bit, talk a little bit about some of the other stuff, and then we can do some questions. Okay, so let's discuss Seidr. No reds. Okay, so Seidr is pretty interesting. I think people are kind of sleeping on this unit a little bit. I've seen a lot of people kind of like dismissing her. But she can turn off people's actions. Now, I know that there is a lot of conditions to it, right? There is the resistance check, there is the odd numbered turns kind of thing, and then the resistance check gets worse the farther away you are. But even any action is very powerful, especially in something like Summoner Duels or Aetherids. The thing is, you have to consider like all the different ways you can use her. You can use her to turn off a problematic unit, which Fallen Morgan. Huh. I think she has Dive Bomb, right? Which is actually pretty cool because I need Dive Bomb for Alencia. She has a good IV though too. And she does have Bible. Ooh. You have a good IV. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so you can like turn off, let's back out. You can turn off a problematic unit as long as they are not, in the back being hidden, essentially, I guess. But you can do that. You can turn off, let's say you're doing Gale Force, you can just turn off a unit and then you don't have to worry about getting pots, right? A lot of times when you're doing Gale Force, you need to pin a unit so that you can get pots afterwards. And that can be kind of problematic. With her, you're not going to have to, which is really nice. If you're doing Vantage, a lot of times one of the big problems is that like, everything just dies. Like whenever I use Altina, I am always afraid everything will just die on her and then I won't get the pot. So with that, you don't have to worry about it, right? Now in Summoner Duels, it's a bit different because on turn 1, you probably won't be in a position where you can hit a unit with this. But even so, you can eventually, right? Like you'll essentially be able to do it on turn 3 and turn 5. Back out again. So you kind of need to position. I think that's fair, right? Because we don't want... Like there is a lot of conditions on that effect, but you don't want it to not have conditions. If it doesn't have conditions, then there aren't ways to play around it. So right now you can not line up in cardinal directions of her. You could beat the resistance check. You can also just kill her before it goes off, right? So I think that's fair. I do think she's going to be very powerful. She does offer support outside that as well. She can offer like the attack smoke effect, essentially, attack smoke 4 effect, where you can kind of give up a follow-up denial, which is cool, right? I think that's a very powerful effect. So I do think she's going to be good. I don't know if she's the best Astro Mythic. I'm not sure about that quite yet. I do think that like maybe Elamine and Plumeria are still better. I will have to try her out myself to see just how good she is. The problem for me, of course, is that most of my Astro Mythics are pretty merged up at this point. So being able to use her in a season is kind of difficult because I will be losing score essentially, right? Unless she is a bonus unit. Or unless she's the 6 slot unit where I'm not really like using her for scoring. So we'll have to see. I would like to get merges so that way I could use her, but I would need a lot of merges, so I'm not so sure about that. If you haven't yet, you should actually go check out Joel's video. He did an analysis on Seidr on Fehology's channel, and he does a really good job of explaining a lot of her strengths and weaknesses. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. I'll leave a link in the description. The only thing you need to ignore in that video is when he says that Altina isn't the best unit, because obviously he's very biased, right? Like I don't want to say it, he's my friend, but we all know Altina is the best unit, so it's just something we'll have to look past for right now. Anyway, other than that, I also want to talk about the Arcane Eclipse, right? So we have Ophelia with Arcane Eclipse. I did put out a tier list for that, so if you want to know my opinions on the best users of that weapon and an analysis of the weapon itself and how it is best used, go check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description and it will be at the end of the video as well. But what I didn't discuss that much is Special Spiral 4, and Special Spiral 4 is a big deal. I'm going to be doing a video on that, talking about the best users of that as well eventually. It might take a minute to come out, but Special Spiral 4 is definitely a meta changer. It essentially allows infantry and armored units access to damage reduction piercing through their specials, right? That's very, very powerful. That's one of the biggest things. The reason why bow units and dagger units were so meta this year was because they had that effect in lethality and deadeye. So being able to give that to a lot of different types of units is really powerful. I expect to see some big meta shifts from that and then also from Embla obviously too. So we're gonna be in a very like tumultuous era of combat. I'm pretty scared. I don't know when the next SD event is, but I hope it's very far away, so we have time to get used to this meta. But yeah, I'll be putting out a video on that so we can kind of discuss the best users of it and who you want to like give it to. The other thing is, of course, is that right now it's only available on Ophelia, so you kind of have to either choose to use like a red tome unit and then you can get the arcane weapon and special spiral, or you're gonna have to use it on somebody else and you're not gonna get access to the weapon, which kind of does suck, but it's not honestly the worst thing. The last thing I want to discuss before we get into some questions is Gullveig herself. So Gullveig is a new villain we've gotten. She looks amazing. I love her design. She reminds me of like Dalamadur from Monster Hunter, but like in waifu form, and that's super cool. But as a unit, she is a colorless tome that is on a cav, which means so she's really very mobile, right? That's horrifying usually. Like think of like Winterlight Scythia or even like Summer Micaiah, right? They're both pretty good units. But this unit is ridiculous because she is a very speed stacked unit and she has slaying in her weapon. And if the foe his HP is greater than 75% or she initiates combat, she's getting +5 to all stats. She has NFU, so she's not going to probably be getting doubled very often. And then if her speed is greater than foe speed, she reduces damage by 60% on the first attack. So essentially she'll be able to engage, she'll get hit back, she'll reduce that damage by a ton. But the most crazy thing is she actually has a built-in Gale Force as a ranged unit. So she is going to be able to get an extra action. There is a limit on it. It's very much similar to Legendary Ninians, where you're going to have to wait 2 turns after before you can do it again. But even so, just having that is stupidly good. Like, that's ridiculous. I think the only thing that could have made it better is if she was a dagger, because then you could put like Disarm Trap on her, and then she could just run Ether Rage, right? But even so, even without that, she's gonna be really, really strong. Like I can see her being used in PvP. I could see her using in Ether Raids. She could be kind of the unit who brings back ranged Gale Force again, which would be really cool. Also, Emblem might do that to an extent in like Chaos season and stuff, right? Where you don't have to use her on the correct season because you can turn off saves. But right now, ranged Gale Force does kind of suffer from far save being so strong. But with this unit, she might be able to get around that, right? Just being able to get in their action without having to do any type of like check or Gale Force is really strong. So I am very much looking forward to her. I don't know when we would get her though. I don't know if we're going to get her like halfway through the year or at the end of the year, right at the end of the book like other villains. We'll have to wait and see. Because it's possible she's not actually the main villain, right? Like we had Letizia and she was like halfway villain essentially. So it could be the same thing with her. Okay. We are not getting much. We got Morgan, which is, I guess, okay. Like she's decent fodder, but I would really like to get at least one of these units before the spark. That would be very nice. Please, game. Okay, so let's jump into some questions. Our first question is going to be from Royal Knight. What sort of arcane weapons are you hoping to see, and what units would you want to see get a rearmed alt? Okay, so yes! Oh my gosh, thank you for bringing the luck, Royal Knight. That was perfect timing. Her art looks really good. I really like the colors they do. Like, the choice of colors is just amazing. Okay, perfect. Now we have her at +1. Plus attack, that's a good IV. It's going to be better than neutral. And as you can see, she actually has like really good fire too. Like, she has Stillwater 4, which is kind of premium. Like, I don't really think you want to sack this unit. But like, Stillwater 4 and like Elamine can be really, really good. And a few other units as well. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, let's keep going. So, to answer that question, I want to see an Arcane Lance and Dagger. I want to see a bow too, but Lance and Dagger are definitely the ones I want the most. I want the Lance to be an offensive Lance. I want like a player phase or like a speedy Lance. I don't really want like a slow Lance. So I want like something like maybe like a Lance with like null follow built into it. That'd be really cool, or like tempo or something like that, where I can be more player facing, like offensive with it. Because I want to give it to Nephany, my base Nephany. I really, really love Nephany. If you don't know, she's just my favorite female in all of Fire Emblem. So I really want to get a user, but right now her base form is like really underwhelming. Even with like the most investment, she's just not gonna stand up to a lot of other units. And her dancer form's cool, but it's it's still a dancer. She's gonna have like really low BST. So I would love to either get a new Nephany or a Splendid Nephany, or an Arcane Lance. So I can like kind of rebuild Nephany. That would be amazing. I would love that a ton. I mean, if you want to give me all three, I'll definitely take that too. When it comes to daggers, I actually want, like, you know how we have the Arcane Eclipse and it's very special oriented, right? It's focused on spamming out big specials. I kind of want that for a dagger, but maybe instead of like a quick impulse effect, maybe giving me like a blade effect, so that way they could like special accelerate into lethalities. Like I think a really good dagger could be like special cooldown, attack and speed, and then it has like a blade effect and then tempo. Like if you had that, that would be amazing. And the reason why I want that for a lot is because I have a +10 Jafar I really want to give a new weapon to. Jafar is like very, very old. He has a horrible stat line. Probably one of the worst stat lines in the game, actually. He just like has negative attack pretty much. So he would really need a strong weapon. And being able to spam lethality would definitely help him a ton. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. When it comes to actual rearmed heroes themselves, I don't really care who it is, because I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter to me who the rearmed hero is. I just care about the weapon and the quality of it, so that I can give it to the characters I like want to build, right? Okay, that's 3 grains. That's pretty good. Speaking of arcane weapons, though, we have another question from Lord Luck. Now that arcane weapons have been added to Fae, do you plan to build any favorite characters who you previously chose not to because they had lackluster PRF or no PRF to begin with? And can you be convinced to build OG Joshua now? I actually do want to build OG Joshua a ton. He's one of my favorite characters. So like, and the arcane sword's very good. So I definitely am looking at Joshua. I also want to build like old favorites though, like units that I have at +10 that I used a lot in the past, but I've kind of fallen off over time. Like Legendary Ike or like Raven or Titania, right? The only thing that's really holding me back at the moment is that I am waiting for the anniversary, because I believe when the anniversary comes out, we might get a skill inheritance cap up to 5, which would make it way better, right? Like, because if you do rearmed weapons, you can just put a ton of fodder there that's premium, and then you could inherit 5 premium skills instead of 4, which is a big deal a lot of times, because you do have skills like attack speeds finish 4 that would take your entire inherit. But if you have 5, then you can get the weapon and that, right? So that's what I'm pretty much waiting on. Okay, 1 red. Almost to spark already. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do another question from Penguin. Let's see. We know you want the next 3 houses banner to feature Felix, but who else would you want on that banner, and who would be the Grand Hero Battle reward? Thanks for all the great content and good luck with your summons. Thanks. So I want Felix really badly, like really, really badly. I am very annoyed that our only representation of Felix is Winter Felix, who, doesn't have a preference weapon, is dressed in a Santa outfit, and is using a bow. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. So I would want Ascended Felix, and then I would want Rearmed Ash, who has a bow, right? That'd be cool. And then I would want Cyril as the demote for the banner, and I would want a Time Skip Petra for our other 5-star who gets a PRF weapon, right? And I think that would be amazing. And then for the Grand Hero Battle, I'd put Judith in, because I think Judith is like a really cool character, and I would love to see her be playable. And I'd give her a PRF weapon, obviously, even as a GHP, because I think that'd be cool. As for Felix himself, I would love to have him have like Sword of Meralta, and it would be like a PRF weapon, and maybe it would have like speed-based damage reduction, like flat speed-based damage reduction and true damage. So kind of like Asker, but based off speed. And then I would want to give him like Aegis Shield as a PRF special, and it would do something like reduce damage by 30%, something like, kind of like Legendary Corrin special, right? But like maybe after combat it heals him for that amount instead of like adding the damage like Corrin's does, or like Fjorm's. So something like that. That's probably what I would do. That's probably like pretty busted, to be honest, but if you're theory crafting units, you might as well have fun with it. Okay, so we got we're in a weird position, because I feel like whenever you have a mythic on a banner for a spark, you should always spark the mythic. That's how I honestly feel. So I kind of am in a position where like I want Ophelia, obviously. Like I want Special Spiral 4 fodder really badly, actually. But I also want to spark the mythic. So I don't know if I just keep going to try to get Ophelia after, because I really, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping I can just get Ophelia. That'd be nice. Anyway, let's do another question. So we have one from Ice Killer 305. If Fae had a crossover event where characters from different series came into Fae, what series would you want to see? Bonus for listing specific characters you want in. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2 answers. If I had to choose a game, I'd probably choose Zelda, right? And I would want the banner to be Link, Zelda, Ganon, and Impa, I'd say. Yeah. And then I'd want the GHB to be like Urbosa. So like the Breath of the Wild. I guess it would be like the Breath of the Wild version of the banner, right? Okay, there's Air. Okay, Air. Nice to see you. Plus speed. That's actually a good IV. I don't know if I'm gonna merge or do I go for Mystic Boost 4 fodder? Like maybe on Seliph or something. Just be annoying. I don't know. I kind of wish you were Seidr though. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's what I would do for a game. And for a manga or anime, I'd choose One Piece because One Piece is my favorite. And I would have the banner be like Luffy, Zoro, Robin, and like I would like to do, I don't know, like Usopp or Frankie, but it'd probably have to be Nami, right? Nami's just too popular and she's a female, right? So she would sell the banner essentially. So probably that. And then for the Grand Hero battle would be like Frankie or Usopp or something like that. I wouldn't mind Jinbei either, but I don't know how popular Jinbei is overall. He's just one of my favorites. Okay, we're already at Spark. Okay, let's do one more question because it is related to the last question. So this one's gonna be from Dark Kid Kirby 101. Unrelated to Faye, but I've always wanted to know who's your favorite character in One Piece. For me, oh my gosh, Astrid. For me, it's Luffy followed by Jinbei. Okay, so we got Astrid. I mean, I'm not mad that we got a 5-star, but like, I guess I just merged her. I don't think she actually has fodder, right? She has a rally and a ruse, and that's it. Wow, that is not great fodder. So we'll probably just merge her. Ugh. Okay, so for me, my favorite characters from One Piece are Luffy and Zoro are tied for #1. Under that is Robin. I love Robin. I think she's an amazing character. And then some of my other favorites are like Jinbei, Crocodile, Mihawk, Aokiji. I like most of the Straw Hats, I'd say. I like all the Straw Hats, but like they're not all my top 10. Like I like some other characters as well. Okay, so now we're in a very awkward position here. I feel like I have to take the Mythic.
1 hour later.
Okay, I've been sitting here for about 15 minutes thinking. I really am having a hard choice here. I think the problem is that like Seidr, the problem with Seidr is that I need to merge her up to like I think +6 to be usable as a scoring bot for me, which is, you know, definitely a whale problem, but still. Well, Ophelia, I really want copies of because of Special Spiral 4. I think I'm gonna go with Seidr because this will put her at +2. And then maybe I'll pull on the December banner with her and Ninian sharing, and I can get her up to +6, maybe. That's what I'm going to do. It's really hard to not take the Mythic in this situation, but oh, I really want Ophelia. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep going. Such a bad choice, but whatever. Okay, there's Seidr again. So now she's at +2. So we need like 4 more from the next banner, or from keep pulling on this. We'll keep pulling green, obviously. We have 26 orbs. Okay, we can get more orbs from the story, and we can also buy more orbs, obviously. Okay, let's keep going with our 26 orbs. Let's see if we can grab an Ophelia, maybe, and dip. That would be really amazing if we could just get Ophelia here, and I can come back later if I need to, because there's so many characters I really want to give Special Spiral 4 to. Like Brave Lysithea, I kind of want to give to Brave Balm. So the thing is with Brave Balm, right, the disadvantage he has over Nana is that he can't ignore DR. But with this build, what you can do is you give him Times Pulse, and then you have him with like Asker or Duochrome. You give him Vital Astra, and then he'll have it pre-charged. And then after every combat, it will get pre-charged. It'll get recharged by Special Spiral 4. And the cool thing about that is that you get damage reduction and you get a Pierce damage reduction. It's a really cool build, and I really want to try it out. But I need like multiple Ophelias, and that's not going well so far. So, Okay. Back out. We're at 13 orbs. I'm going to grind some orbs. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've done all the story quests. I did all the everything. I got 40 orbs. So that's what we're going to use. Hopefully we can get an Ophelia in here. If not, we're going to stop for now. Okay, there's no reds. Okay, let's do a question with these last 40 orbs. So this one's going to be from Ixelness. If the game were to end right now and we are getting one last banner for every continent game, who would you want in that banner? Holy crap. Okay, there's another Seidr. Maybe I should pick Ophelia. Now I feel kind of bad. I mean, that's a merge too, though, right? So like, we're at +3, so we're getting closer to the usability bracket for me. Anyway, who would you want on that banner? Up to you if you want to split up games or combine them. You can do Teles as a whole or split into POR and PRD banners. Okay, so we get one final banner. So I'm gonna break all the rules. I'm gonna put all my favorites on that banner because you know, if you could design a banner and it's the last banner, you might as well put your favorites on it, right? So I would want Ascended Nephany, 100%. I would want Ascended Jafar, right? 2 Ascendeds. That's how broken this banner is gonna be. I would want a demote Ross, but the Ross has a PRF dual phase Brave Axe, and it has the pirate animation from Sacred Stones. Yeah, that's what I want. And then the main star of the banner would be Duo Zelgius, who is sharing with Ike, and they would have like Altina's weapon, but on crack. And they would also have Nihil as their preference B skill, and they would have an updated ether that's called Eclipse ether, and it's ether, but it can ignore damage reduction, and it heals based off your max HP instead of how much damage you do. So just completely broken, right? And then the grand hero battle would be Nurgle, because at that time I'm sure that Nurgle still won't be in the game, so we gotta make sure he gets in at least at the final banner. Oh my god, we are not gonna get Ophelia. Okay, we can keep going, I guess. Let's do another question. This one's me from Squadala. If you were a Fire Emblem character, what class would you be and why? I'd either be a Lance Cav or a Wyvern Rider, because I get an animal friend. Best of luck on your summons. Thank you. So whenever I play any game, I always want to be like the frontline melee units. I want to be like in people's faces. I want to be doing damage. I want to be kind of tanky too. So I'd probably be like a hero or like a Vanguard class. Or maybe even like a Sentinel class like Nephne. I think those would be all really cool options. When it comes to like classes or jobs outside of Fire Emblem, I always play like a Paladin, right? I like the combination of being a melee unit, but also having like magic and support too, right? Because Paladins typically can like heal or like offer like buffs and stuff. Typically, oh my god. So Ophelia didn't want to come home, but Seidr did. Seidr wanted to come home a lot. Holy crap. We're gonna back out here. I think that's gonna be it. Wow. If I want to go in for 2, no, I don't, because I know if I go in, I'm gonna have to buy orbs, because it's gonna be like a 5 red banners or 5 colored banners, something like that. Okay, well that turned into an insane summoning session at the end. Wow. So we got a ton of Seidr. We did not get Ophelia, unfortunately, so I'm probably gonna have to come back to this banner later, because I do want at least 1 copy. I really want to do some Special Spiral 4 shenanigans with it. But either way, this was amazing. And now I'd love to hear about your summoning session. If you did summon here, who were you summoning for? Were you summoning for Seidr, or were you summoning for Rearmed Ophelia? Maybe you have some projects you want to use that arcane weapon on, or maybe you just have someone you want to inherit Special Spiral 4 to. Either way, make sure to drop a comment down below letting me know. If you haven't yet, go check out my Arcane Eclipse tier list so that you can have all the best recommendations of who to inherit that weapon to. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion. I'll catch you all later.